So, I recently posted some tips about how to increase the revenue at your short term rental. And I got a lot of questions about the tip around our conversion data. So, I thought I'd dig in a little bit more and share some of the specifics about how you can use your conversion data for your short term rental business to understand a little bit more. So, this was the tip that I gave, which is use conversion data to assess your performance. And so we're going to dig into this here, but the one we're going to focus on first is this one, which is our first page search impression rate, which by the way is the same as average first page search impressions. So all that means is that for the percentage of times that your listing showed up in the search results, this is the percentage or the number of times that you were on page one for somebody's search results, right? And so we don't have a lot of control over this. This is all algorithm specific, depending on the platform that you're using, but it's a good metric to track over time. I will tell you 39% is a little bit of a higher percentage. The particular property on the bottom is doing very well, and so it gets rewarded by showing up more often in the search results. But this kind of lets you know that you're actually getting seen, right? And so, here's some of the things that we know will get us seen more. We have a high quality listing. We have plenty of photos. We have good reviews. We're responsive as a host. All of those things, Airbnb and Vrbo both tell us is the case. And you can actually go into those platforms, and there's some FYIs that actually explain to you how they pick what shows up in the search results. Which, by the way, is not just about your listing, but it's about the intent of the person that's actually looking in that moment. So I think, that's important to know. And there's not a lot, other than just being a good host that we can do to affect that, except for one thing, which is get bookings. If we are making money on that platform, the platform is making money. So they are going to prioritize our booking. And I know that's a little bit of a vicious cycle, but it's true. If you're getting bookings, you're going to get more bookings because they're going to prioritize you. So the best thing you can do is to get bookings on platform. But if you're in a minute where you're like, I just need to get more bookings, then here's a couple things to do. Just drop your price by $1 or $2. That will signal you're present. And everybody loves a discount. I use the term get warm leads. So take your Airbnb listing link and go to a Facebook group where people are looking for properties actively. I don't recommend doing this like as a fake thing, like going into a Facebook group of short-term rental hosts and saying like mine and I'll like yours. I'm not a big fan of that. I think in the short term, if you do it once or twice, a quarter, it probably isn't going to hurt you. But most algorithms can recognize fake intent versus real intent. Okay. And they're getting smarter by the day. So I would say go to where people who are likely to actually be interested in booking your place are and share your Airbnb or your VRBO link, whichever one you want to work on, and actually get it in front of people who might actually book it, right? And then the other thing too is change your listing. Now there's advice out there, change your listing every day. I don't think that is worth your time, but I do think changing your listing every week, just tweaking it, is worth it. But the other thing is if you really aren't showing up often, try a different uh, lead photo, change up your headline, but change your listing in some way regardless, is a good practice because that shows you're present and maybe it shakes things up a little bit. So let's talk about the next thing. And this is search to listing conversion. So what that really means is that you showed up in somebody's search results and they clicked, right? And so you really want to see a reasonable, the bar should be somewhere between 15 and 25%. So a year or so ago, I saw an article from Vrbo. They admitted that they were having a lot of challenges with this metric. And most of the properties I was looking at had a lower than 15% on the Vrbo platform. Now they've been fixing it. And so I think 15 to 25%, I tend to see Airbnb still has typically a little bit of a higher click-through rate. But on average, a good click-through rate. So you showed up in somebody's search results and they clicked on it. That click-through rate should be somewhere between 15 and 25%. If you have a strong rate, what this means is that your thumbnail, your lead photo, your pricing, the things that show up, whichever, and your thumbnail is different depending on your platform. So you got to look at it on all the different channels that you're using, looks good, right? But if it's not if it's not a strong rate, then the thing I would look at is look at your pricing. Are you actually priced competitively to your actual comps? Maybe try a different lead photo. Make sure the information on here is correct. Airbnb, I don't tend to see any issues with, but I've had one or two issues on Vrbo before, especially if somebody typed in an actual address. Um, Sometimes it will give incorrect information. And if you have a lower review score, and I mean, you define that as less than a 4.7, that is absolutely hurting you. People are not going to book your property. So you got to fix that. Okay. And let's talk about where the money is. And that is your listing to booking conversion rate. So what percentage of time that you're seeing do you actually get a booking? 1 to 2% that's where the average listing is going to be. I've seen, I think up to a 4% conversion rate. I'm sure there are a few viral properties that have gone higher, but this 2.2, 8% rate is very, very good. And you can actually see it also has a 34% search listing conversion. So that's a strongly performing property. If you are in Vrbo, you're maybe figuring out yourself. So the top one there, that first page, first impression, I would divide my 630 by my 3423 to get my impression to click rate, which is 18%, which is perfectly normal. But now we're going to talk about this listing to booking. So what percentage of time do you get a booking? And if you have a low conversion rate, so you get tons and tons and tons of clicks, but you have a low booking rate, you may you're a luxury offer, or you have a really unique offer, and you're getting a lot of clicks because it's a unique offer. And so you're just going to have to track it over time and kind of gauge based on your particular property what is normal for you, because you're out of the range of normal. So I have 2 properties that are luxury / unique offers, and I get tons and tons and tons and tons of clicks, but I don't get as many bookings because a lot of people are not spending $1,500 or $1,800 a night to stay in a property, right? But they're curious about the property because it looks interesting and unique. But if that's not you and your booking rate is low, then your listing isn't clear or it's not resonating. So you maybe don't have photos of all the key spaces. Information is hard to find. If you are leading your listing with your rules, I would bury those in the bottom, because people don't want to feel like they're booking a place with a bunch of rules. You may be priced inappropriately for your comp set. I think there's lots of things, but this is the signal that you need to be looking at your offer fully. Like, are your photos not great? Are your and this is how I do the work that I do when people hire me to do an optimization review for them. I take their conversion rate, we pare that down, and then we go step by step and look at all of these pieces of the listing. This is your marketing. And if you're not converting well, then there's something wrong, right? And I say that, but you also have to understand what's the bar, because if there's not a ton of demand in your marketplace, that's the reality. Like, you can't create demand per se unless you have a really unique, really unusual offer. And even then, like, you're in a beach market and it's February, we can optimize some things so that what demand there is will consider your place, but that's, you're still not going to have 100% occupancy in a market that has 15% occupancy. That's not realistic. So all we can do is really optimize it so that it is working for the demand that there is. And we can use data to help inform that. So again, Use your data to assess your performance and make tweaks accordingly. Helps you be more efficient and save time. There's no guesswork here. You can easily see where in the process are you not getting the views or the clicks that you need, and you can solve for that problem. And you're going to be much more efficient and much more successful in your business. My name is Kate Stormer. I'm the CEO host. You can find me at any of these channels. And if you would like to talk about getting some help to optimize your listing and increase your revenue, you can grab a free call with me and we can talk about that. All right.